This is the compost pile. Toilet. Nah. That's just some sawdust. From, stuff that I've broomed up from the floor of the house. Kind of the pine needle. This is last winter's punis. This is the summer's punis. This is last year's punis. It's broken down good. Pretty good. A few little pine needle shreds, still not broken down, but they're super soft, they're like thread. There's really not much left of them. 3 years, I'm thinking a third year it'll be broken down completely, the pine needles. See how well the pine needles hold up. And then with the soldier fly larvae, I didn't cull any soldier fly larvae this year. I was just letting them do their thing. They would eat through a poop in a couple minutes. And it's like, they don't really eat the pine needles. It's just the microorganisms that eat the pine needles. So it wouldn't really smell. I didn't need to add a whole lot of pine needles. Pine needles are carbon. When you're doing a compost toilet, you want like a mix of carbon and nitrogen to keep it, a good balance in there, But then you kind of see this. I think that's a pokeweed stalk. Plants themselves have, their stalks have carbon, So I was just using mostly plants, fresh greens as my filler, so the soldier fly larvae could just eat the greens, it's kind of like lettuce for them, they could, get food out of it, and it would provide some mass, but they ate the poo and all that jazz so fast, it didn't really smell, despite the limited amount of pine needles that I used in there. So, it probably would have been 3 piles like that I would have went through if I'd done pine needles. Just kind of building up that mass because the pine needles sit there, but now it's more condensed. This is a full summer's worth of poo right here. And it's really not that much poo. That's probably mostly soldier fly larvae. But anyways, it's pretty much winter time now. Handful of frosts, knocked out the leaves on these things, Still got some figs that never made it. Never made it to ripeness. Leaves in general are coming down. But basically, now that it's freezing, not today, but it's gonna snow tomorrow. Tomorrow night, it's supposed to snow, be down to 19, and get the first snow. There's been had some sleet, it's been down to 20, I think, before. Real sharp turn into winter this year, But that puts soldier fly larvae asleep. They either hibernate or die, so they stop coming out to eat the poo. So at this point, it's going to start building up real fast, when the soldier fly larvae don't eat, it builds up fast, and it develops a smell during the winter. If it's a mild day like this, things will thaw, and it may develop a smell. So, for the wintertime poo situation, I use a lot of pine needles to, you know, balance it out better. You know, granted it's frozen most of the time and it's not breaking down, you know, and then when it does thaw, it's a whole lot of poo going on, you know. So I want to clear this out. Kind of the whole point of this video is moving this pile onto that. You kind of see the rock circle. And I don't really want to put this on my beds, you know. I'm just going to leave these beds as is and let this break down for, you know, another few years or something, you know. Let it compost down more. And I want to make room for my winter poos right here. Well, not really winter poos, you know, a few months worth of poos right here. I also want to see what's inside the pile, you know, kind of there's at least a squirrel in there, and I think I put Jerry the squirrel in there as well. There's a full adult squirrel and I think one baby mouse. I think that's all the animals I put in there. I don't know. But I also want to see how big or how much soldier fly larvae are in there, you know, and if they're still moving around inside the heart of the pile, you know, where it's probably a little warmer than it is outside. Spoiler, it's going to be soggy at the bottom. I just put my coffee grounds on it, so it's pretty loaded down with water, and it generally stays a little too wet at the base, you know. I probably shouldn't put coffee grounds on it, but they break down so well, you know. I like adding them just for the material wise, you know. And then the water feeds the trees. I think that's why this guy gets so big, you know. This is, I mean, to me this looks level here to there, but maybe it's slight downhill or something, or it's probably feeding off of that, this guy. That's why this guy's so big. Soldier fly larvae. Hard to say. They should be dormant, sleeping, but you never know. Maybe they're frozen. They were awfully close to the surface. Those were the couple tomatoes that were on the vine. So these frosts came real fast. Kind of knocked things out. But look at all of those. They're right at the surface. I thought they would be deeper. Yeah, they're moving. Last year, they went deeper. And you can kind of see them, like, hiding under a rock, you know. There might be throwing pine needles on here, I end up with rocks. You know, you just grab the pine needles off the ground, you end up grabbing rocks. So there's rocks mixed in it. And underneath a rock, you would find a bunch of soldier fly larvae. That's a potato. So I had a bag of potatoes in the shack. And then I started getting all these gnats. And it's kind of sometimes gnats are an issue in the fall. So I was thinking that's what it was. It was just like fall gnats. But it wasn't swarms of them, but it was more than it should have been considering what I keep in the shack, you know. I don't really keep, you know, gnat garbage in the shack. Then I was going to go make some potato chips or french fries or something. I can't remember. So I grabbed a bag of potatoes, and one of them is just a soupy mess. And the gnats were all over it, little gnat larvae. And it was surprising how much water is in a potato. You know, that the whole bag of potatoes was just a soupy mess from that one potato. And I was just like, yeah, you know, I put them all out here, you know. It was like 4 potatoes or something, so that rotten one with all the gnat damage, they ate that real quick. But these other potatoes are a bit too hard for them. A bit too hard for them to eat. Oh, there's another potato. Eggshell. This is some interesting material right here on the border. It's kind of all, you know, it looks like dirt. They've broken it down, you know. So most of this material is greenery, you know. Not a whole lot of pine needles in this. So that dirt is like probably coffee grounds and dead leaves that have broken down. That's just the first shovelful in, you know. Kind of see how dark and rich it is. Very nice. I'm going to do a few more on this side. Because I believe the squirrel should be on that side. So I'm going to bring this side down low. And see what's over there. Wow. It was just stuck together like crazy. You know, it's kind of felt like it was frozen together, but it was just so matted together. Like the little branches and stuff. A lot of moisture right there. You know, that's what you want to avoid with a compost pile. Because that's anaerobic. Bad bacteria and things getting there. That's like the border of the pile. So it's like the heart of the pile. You know, that's about 8 inches, 10 inches in from the edge of the pile. Heart of the pile down at the base. That's pretty much ground level right there. It ended up going way deep in that run. Heart of the pile was a bit moist, which is expected. You know, I consider that a compost tea. Not good, you know, I'd rather not have it, but, you know, to not do that, I'd have to stop putting coffee grounds on here. If I didn't put coffee on here, I wouldn't have that. You know, it's that coffee that throws it over the edge. But I think it's a worthwhile trade-off. Getting those grounds in here, you know, and the other stuff, you know. The last bit of my coffee. So there's just a tiny bit of cream and sugar. Well, you know, non-dairy creamer, which is corn syrup solids, you know. So some corn and some sugar, you know, and then the grounds mixed in there, you know. It's kind of added nutrition's bad side, excess moisture, but it doesn't smell too bad, you know. Granted, this would, you know, but I got some clogged sinuses right now, so it doesn't smell too bad. I can't smell it at all, you know, right here. And I'm kind of getting an earthy smell, you know, so it's not a bad smell. There's a potato. Still a lot of soldier fly larvae. No. Still a lot of soldier fly larvae. There's another potato, which apparently I missed. You know, the soldier fly larvae push things away. You know, they swarm on what they want, and then the other stuff gets pushed away. So that potato got pushed away. This is kind of surprising. Well, it's hard to say. I'm pretty sure that's a potato. It's hard to say how well preserved that is, but that looks perfect. That potato right there. And this is the compost pile, where I got so many bacteria and things to break stuff down. And you got this. This is, you know, that load. Potato. I mean, those look good enough to eat. Just hose them off a little bit, cut them up, probably good to go. Surprising how well potatoes last, you know, and I never had an issue with potatoes before. Somehow that one got just completely nasty. I don't know if it had a really bad spot going on and then the gnats got on it, you know, or if the gnats made the bad spot, you know, but one of them just liquefied, which is nasty, you know. This is the spot that the liquefaction should happen, not in the shack, you know. But just doing plants, you kind of see all of the stringy bits and bobs, you know, very woody, even though it's basically just plants, you know. I was doing, you know, that mix down there, this mix over here, like a 50-50, and then when I turn it, doing another 50-50, and then when I turn it, doing another 50-50. So kind of, you know, would end up being 75-87% greens, you know, because of all the greens I'd be adding over time, you know, but starting off with a 50-50. Oh, look at that. Another potato. Yeah, they kind of rolled around. So they really didn't get to those potatoes at all. So the cool thing will be if these potatoes sprout, you know. They'll be all greens probably with all that nitrogen going on, you know. It looks to me like these potatoes are going to grow because they're not broken down now, and over the winter not much gets broken down, and then by spring they'll probably just sprout and grow, you know. If the larvae don't eat them, but I'm thinking these larvae are probably going to die. Anything that's exposed. It's going to get pretty warm today, relatively speaking, like around 60. So if those guys are alive, they'll wake up and burrow in. But if they're dead, they'll just stay out and freeze, you know, tonight or tomorrow night, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna do another shovel. This time looking for the squirrel. This is getting down towards the bottom. Very wet, grassy, and probably, you know, more pine needles now because that's all that's left. You know, the stuff down here is broken down real well. Scary thing, I still haven't found that squirrel. You know, it's not scary, it's actually incredible, you know, the digestive powers of this pile. This pile has great digestive powers. I did not think, you know, so there's the eggshell. That's pretty small, you know, there's another eggshell. You know, I crush up my eggshells when I put them in here a couple of times. You know, I just threw in the shells whole, you know. These whole shells are still here, you know, it's kind of a, you know, not over there. You know, the shells from 2 years ago are completely broken down, you know, but this year's shells, well, I'm guessing they're completely broken down. I don't see them, you know. I've scattered broken up eggshells over the top, you know, so you might see broken up eggshells. That's from this year. You know, just fertilizing things, you know, giving it constant nutrition, building up that soil, you know. So there's some scattered eggshells on top, but the original shells from the original compost look like they've all broken down. But, you know, it takes 2 years to do that. The squirrel was only in here for what? June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. So after being in this pile for 5 months, well, I put it in the pile, and more or less 5 months later, I'm not seeing it. You know, I still got some more to go. I'm gonna dig it out some more. It's either way at the bottom, or it's just completely dissolved. Yeah, so I'm gonna do, interesting things. There's really nothing left at this point. It's just the hard carbons that are left at this depth. Hard carbons and, you know, muddy muds. The soldier fly larvae don't really live down this deep in the pile. They stay closer to the top, probably so they don't drown, and because the food is up top. And then there's this. Let's see if it'll show. And that's not a soldier fly larva, that's a regular larva, a regular maggot. It looks like to a fruit fly type thing. So these fruit fly larvae may stay down at the base of the pile where it's wetter, and the soldier fly larvae don't go down there to eat them because it's so wet. That might be kind of the little ecosystem going on here. But there's really, they're pretty rare. I didn't even know I had fruit fly larvae in the pile. I just, you know, all you see, you know, on a normal basis are the soldier fly larvae. And it's like they eat everything else, you know. Soldier fly larvae are late to get going, so you might see some of those in the spring, you know, some regular maggots in the spring. But once the soldier fly larvae get started, that's all you see. They dominate the pile and take care of all the business for you. I'm gonna do a few more shovels, probably about half of that, you know, and then take another look. Still no squirrel. So at this point, I'm pretty sure the squirrel just got completely dissolved. Squirrel and the mouse. I'm not seeing anything that looks like a bone. Anything like a skull or spine or anything. So I'm going to clean up the last of it. Toss that on the... And this is kind of a big pile now. It's getting there. But, it'll condense down, you know. As things decompose, they settle, you know. I like doing it like this, you know, because it takes that highly nitrogenated wet stuff, you know, at the base and puts it on top. You know, so all of that nutritions and stuff can soak into the pine needles down below, you know, and the rest of the carbons that are in there. Kind of recycles the high nitrogen and stuff that was going through. Yeah, let's get the last of that out. Clear sinuses in the morning. Very nice. So that's all of it. This is a nice rich mud now. Dirt. Scattering of soda larvae here and there. The fur and bones and everything was eaten away, dissolved on the squirrel and the baby mouse. And it's like pretty much dirt right there. And when I throw my plants in here, you know, pull weeds from around and throw those in, I like getting the root ball with a bit of dirt, you know, and you know, having the dirt in there because it kind of puts proper dirt and inoculates the pile with regular dirt bacterias, you know, and that regular dirt, you know, will soak up some of those nutritions, you know, and then the regular dirt has various other minerals and things, you know, that my compost doesn't have, so it kind of makes the compost richer. And that's kind of what this is. It looks like, this looks like a bit of regular dirt being down at the bottom like that. You sometimes fork up regular dirt. I mean, it's got a earthy smell to it. It's too windy. It's kind of windy out today. Could be, it should smell a little bad, but it doesn't, you know, and I'm thinking maybe that's because of the wind. I don't know. Yeah, I just wanted to show this because this is like, you know, the messiest part, you know, of any farming situation is dealing with the waste, you know, mucking out animal stalls, you know, cleaning the chicken coop, or, you know, people seem to think this is crazy, you know, compost toilet, you know, it's kind of a different thing, but it's turns a waste product into a usable product, you know. It's like, you know, a massive fig tree, you know, just from, you know, compost, you know, kind of a beautiful. And then there's literature on it, you know, there's like the Human Manure Handbook, you know, online, or it was online as a PDF, you know, where it really dives into the nitty and gritty of it, the science of it, you know, and, you know, the benefits, drawbacks, but in general, it's just incredible, you know, as long as it's your own, you know, you don't want to be doing this with other people's poo, because that's how you get other people's diseases, you know, but, you know, doing it in a closed system, very nice, you know, and this being the messiest thing, it's not messy at all, you know, that bit's messy right there. That's bird poo though. That's not people poo or blood, you know, that's just bird poo, you know, so there's poo around everywhere, you know. Drinking the alcohol, that's the yeast poo right there. Honey is bee vomit, you know, it's kind of a, there's a lot of different things going on. Yeah, I wanted to just show it, you know, I haven't really done much footage of the compost pile this year, you know, because I really wasn't doing much with it. It was just letting the soldier fly larvae do their trick, you know. So kind of here's the end result of a year's worth of poo. Well, 5 or 6 months worth of poo right here. Well, it was right there. Now it's on top of the other stuff, which is, you know, a year's worth of poo in total, this mound. Last winter's plus this summer's. No, that's it for this video. And I almost forgot. Now it's time to get the pile started again. So I got this bit right here. This is sawdust and leaves. That were, and pine needles from the pine needle pea potato pile. So this is pine needles that I've peed on, so they're already kind of soft. You know, these have been piled up and mildly. It just smells like the woods. It doesn't even smell like earth. You know, it just smells like the forest floor. So that's a nice start right there. And then just kind of each day add another handful, another handful, another handful. Very easy, you know. Don't need fancy things. Oh, I think I'm gonna put some screening around this. It's real nice having a view, being able to see, you know. So plastic would ruin the view, but screen I could see through it. And then the issue with this is when it rains, it rains in there, you know. So kind of wipe off the most of the water, you know. Give it a hand squeegee or whatever that is, you know. And then I got this. Part of a shirt that I couldn't use anymore. It was just too tore up, you know. Give it a quick dry, you know, and then use toilet paper to give it a final dry. Then I got this. This is my ice scraper. So, like Tuesday morning, there's going to be a layer of ice on this. So I'm going to have to scrape that ice. And then give it a rough dry, you know, and a final dry if needed, you know, but the ice is pretty dry because it's all frozen, you know. But as is, you know, that rain can get in here, you know, so I got to dry it and ice scrape it. That's the biggest drawbacks of compost toilet, you know. As far as the experience of doing your business, you know, it's a great experience. Just so relaxing, you know. Do your business, and you can watch the lizards and bugs and snakes and all that jazz, you know. Watch the little voles and shrews. During the summer, you know, when it was warmer out, I'll just say last month, you know, here it is, I'm gonna be ice scraping, you know, in a few days. But a month ago, it was nice and warm. So the flies would go around, you know, and the lizards would crawl up and eat the flies, you know. So you can sit here doing your business, just watching the lizards hunt the flies, you know. It's kind of like a nature show while you're doing your business. It's incredible, you know. And it's like, you know, a nice soft breeze on your fanny while you're taking care of business. It's a nice experience. Bad thing is getting rained on while you're doing your business. You know, it's kind of like in a heavy rain, you know, with an rain angle. Granted, a lot of rain is straight down, so it's not bad. But a slight angle, and then you get wet. Or you got to dry it off, you know. So having some screen, I'll be able to see things, you know. But that screen will hopefully stop the rain. So it's kind of, there'll be a little bit of the splash out maybe a few inches, you know, where the force of the rain stops, but it's on the screen and a gust of wind blows a mist through, you know. So I'm thinking screen will kind of get me there, you know, so I can see still, and enjoy the views, but not have to deal with the moisture as much, you know. So that's the one downside to the compost toilet, you know. This system, you know, this setup, you know, I suppose a better setup would be one that rotates or something, you know. That would be like a fancy, you know, not worth building kind of compost toilet. But in the summer, you know, it's so hot, you sweat while you poo, you know, because the sun's beating down on you. So have it on a rotary disc, you know, so in the summer the back wall is facing the sun and you're facing that way, so you don't get the sun beating down on you. The sun just beat down on the wall. Then in the winter, when it's cold out, that sun feels great, you know. So so it slowly spins, you know. And in the summer it's spun away, and in the winter it's spun this way. And it's basically just making a big ring of poo, you know, throughout the year. So instead of like doing piles like this, it's just a ring, you know. And before you get back around to the one spot, you just start shoveling it, you know. So that would be kind of a cool one, you know, a circular one that spins, kind of make use of the sun, you know, avoid it or use it for warmth, you know. Yeah, so that's kind of a full-on compost toilet right there. It's a fly. Looks like a bumblebee. I think they're called bee killers. Maybe they hunt the bees.